We have two hearings this evening. First one is the comprehensive permit for 55 SS LLC, that is 51, 53, 55 Summer Street, and this is pursuant to Mass General Laws 40B, and this is for construction of 240 rental units and 60 ownership units. And what I have in my notes is the applicant has some updates or is going to request a continuance at this time, but we can go ahead.
Yeah, so a couple of things with this. I submitted a revised scope that was adjusted by Tetra requesting an additional $15,000, and that's to continue the peer review. And then, yes, we'd like to continue the hearing tonight, and I'll promote David Hale as soon as I can find him to a date certain, so that so David Hale should be here in a second, so that work can continue to happen on the comments that the different departments and boards have brought up.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Hale. If you want, do you want to bring us up to date on where things stand with your development?
Oh, you're muted.
Here we go. Thank you. I think that based on comments from town departments and peer review, there's a relatively finite list of unresolved issues, and I'm asking for a continuance so that we can work on resolving all those issues that can be resolved. And I think we're making good progress.
Okay, that's great. And as far as the additional funding for the peer review, you're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Dave Anderson, I think you have just a quick statement for us.
How you doing, everyone? I just want to officially recuse myself from the hearing on Summer Street, as my brother actually owns an abutting property to Summer Street. So I think it would be best that I recuse myself from the hearing process. Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Okay. Anything else? I know we have a number of members from the community, but seeing that there's really just going to continue it, unless there's something you want to add, Mr. Hale, but I think we're good.
So just a discussion about dates?
Sure. Yeah. What we're looking at is January 6th or 7th, and preferably the 6th, which is a Wednesday night.
Works for me.
Okay, very good. So this hearing will be continued until January 6th of 2021. No further notice will be given. 7 o'clock Zoom meeting again. And at that point, we'll move forward with where we stand on this the South Walpole development.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hale.
Thank you.
Okay, Suzanne, yes.
Should make a motion.
Oh, yes. Okay. Could I have
Make a motion on behalf of the applicant to continue this hearing to January 6th, the 6th at 7 p.m.
Oh, did you vote on the peer review scope?
No.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
I shall amend mine.
So,
John, you want to call the phone?
yeah, actually, could I have a motion to for the peer review, the scope of the peer review, and the additional funds as outlined in the letter from Tetra Tech?
So moved.
Okay, so peer review moved by Suzanne. Could I have a second on that?
Second by Jane.
Second by Jane, thank you. Any further discussion on, this is just the peer review. Okay, roll call vote for the peer review. Bob Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Suzanne Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Jane Coffey,
Aye.
Drew Delaney,
Aye.
and I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay, so that is all set for the peer review, which will continue with the Summer Street development. Next one is just a vote to continue this. And Suzanne, do you want to restate your motion?
Oh, on behalf of the applicant, I request a motion to continue till January 6th at 7 p.m.
So, second.
Okay, second by Jane. Any further discussion on continuing the hearing? Roll call vote. Bob Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Suzanne Murphy.
Yeah.
Jane Coffey.
Aye.
Drew Delaney.
Aye.
I'm John Lee. Aye. So this is continued until January 6th.
6th.
Yes. Wednesday, January 6th. Okay. Now moving on. Next one we have is case number 2021 Wall Street Development Corp. 48 Burns Ave, Union Street, also Brook Lane. This is amendment of a comprehensive permit under 40B to amend the project to include Brook Lane, 40 units in 8 buildings instead of previous approval of 32 units in 6 buildings, and utility connections from Brook Lane to eliminate installation utilities from Union Street. And tonight the topic is the peer review scope of work. So Ashley, I see you've already brought Mr. Petrozzi into this meeting. And Ashley, if you could tell us where we are as far as the peer review, the request for peer review, and where we stand on that.
Yeah, so we requested scopes from Tetra Tech, Sean Reardon, and Beta Hill Paradise, and they've both submitted scopes to you. Phil worked on the project previously, but as we discussed at the last meeting, the project has changed pretty considerably. So we've requested a scope from Tetra Tech, who we've been working with on Summer Street. We also have a scope from Davis Square Architects. The applicant has noted that he doesn't find the scope to be in line with the 40B regulations, and I'm happy to table that for tonight and have continuing discussions with town council and the applicant to see if we can modify it or make it amenable to both. But that's all I have on those.
Ashley, fortunately we have town council here. Good evening, George. Do you want to have any comments for the public session on the architectural peer review, or do you want to continue that discussion with Ashley separately?
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. I just found out from Ashley about the objection to design review. I think the more crucial issue, so I really have no comment on that. I don't have an opinion one way or another at this point. I know Ashley would prefer to just table the discussion on that issue because it is not as crucial as the the civil engineering, site design work, and the drainage and all those issues that you'll want to really undertake peer review right away so that you can conduct some meaningful hearings on this earlier rather than later. So I'd recommend, at least for tonight, going to that issue about peer review on the non-design review prong of it.
Okay, thank you, George. Okay, Suzanne, yes.
The applicant changed all the building sizes too, though.
Yeah, we're not done with that. I think we're going to have further discussions on that. You're exactly right. Building positions have changed and things like that.
Size has increased. Right.
Right. So it's a different project in a lot of ways. So
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Petrozzi, do you have anything else that you want to update us on the development or discuss before we get into the peer review scope of work?
No, there's nothing more to update. I would like to, in addition to the peer review, at some point get into a dialogue that's related to the appeal items that is part of the remand order, that we have a discussion about those issues that are under appeal in addition to the peer review.
Okay, and George, this is where it gets a little difficult for a zoning board because we now are dealing with what Mr. Petrosi just described as a remand. But has it been remanded back to the zoning board?
Yes, there's a formal remand, but what's remanded is the project change. So, you know, the scope of your hearing is really focused on the project change. If you know, as part of that discussion, as a practical matter, if it, you know, moves over into things that the applicant thinks were resolved on his appeal of the initial permit, that's fine, but that shouldn't be the focus of the hearing. You want to get down to the, you know, the project that's the subject of the project change, and that should be the focus of the hearing. Like I say, I that doesn't mean you're precluded, or as a practical matter, you don't discuss other issues as they may be relevant to this. But the focus is really the project change. The status of the HAC appeal is the HAC is maintaining jurisdiction. She has remanded the project change formally to the board for a public hearing, which is, you know, the position that you've taken since the beginning. So that has to be the focus of these proceedings for now.
And that's what I want. I think it's only fair that we deal with one proposal that's before us, and that is the revised plan at this point. Okay. That being said, the peer review, we have peer review with Tetra Tech, and I think that's what we want, the zoning board wants to go with on this. Ashley, what's the cost on the Tetra Tech peer review?
The cost is $13,624.
And when I took a look at this earlier, it looked like Tetra Tech was going to be able to cover all the engineering peer review components that we had requested.
Yeah, and I should note, so the beta one was for less, but my memory was that as we went through, more funds were needed. So I just wanted to note that.
Mr. Petrosi.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if I can say, just speak for a little bit, you know, since this is a project change, this should be treated just like any kind of revised plan that was submitted during the hearing process. And in that scenario, you would engage the same engineering peer group to review the project change or the revisions. So I think it would be unproductive to engage another peer reviewer who's completely unfamiliar with the project and the site. And I think that's a disservice to Wall Street for if the board were to go with that. We would object to that if the board were to pursue that. It's really not about the money. It's really about the fact that Bader is much more familiar with the project, the site, and has dealt with all of the issues previously with the board. We would appreciate that the board retain Bader for the remaining review of the project.
Okay, well, as we all know, that the engineering firm works for the zoning board in the town of Walpole in this case. And I think that it's helpful where it is a major modification of this development that I don't see a difference of bringing in somebody because it is a major modification. Board members, what are your thoughts on this as far as going forward with Tetra Tech, who we're familiar with from other projects? Suzanne?
I know I would rather use Tetra Tech. They seem to be very technical, and the Beta has no idea of the other road. They haven't even been near the river much, so they have no idea about coming out on Union Street at all. So that's a whole new ball game for them. So I would really rather work with Tetra Tech myself.
Okay, anybody else have any comments on that? Jane, go ahead.
Agree with that. Yes, I would agree with that. It's essentially a whole new project, even though there are even though there's some history here. And I don't see, and I think it's appropriate to have fresh eyes to look on it if it's a peer review, as opposed to muddy the waters, being, well, before it was this and now it's that. I think there's merit in having a new board, a new peer review, just take a look at it with fresh eyes.
Okay, good. Thank you for your
we disagree, Mr. Chairman, so I can go back to the HAC and just deal with it there if that's the case. The project is not changing that much as you would think, and Beta is quite familiar with the site. Their office is right around the corner from the property, and I just don't find that Tetra Tech is in the position of Beta to review the project as proficiently as Beta has. So, and of course, you can always go with the objections of Beta doesn't charge $1,250 to attend the meeting. So it's quite unreasonable what they've included in their proposal, and we're objecting to it.
Okay, well, I think where we're at tonight for this is it's a peer review scope of work. We've got a quote from two of the peer reviewers, and the zoning board wants to go with Tetra Tech, and the amount of money is whatever the number Ashley read off earlier. I don't have it right in front of me, but do you want to pay that money for the Tetra Tech for the peer review for this development, Mr. Petrozzi?
We're objecting to that proposal.
Okay, so now we're at a situation.
Say it any clearer than that?
Well, no, I can understand that you're objecting to it, and the zoning board has said that they want to go with Tetra Tech, so they're objecting to using Beta.
Okay.
So,
there is recourse for Wall Street, and we'll pursue the recourse through the proper channels.
Okay. Again, we have town council with us. Before I go out on a limb and move things along, George, do you have any advice for the zoning board?
No, I would recommend that you go ahead with a motion about the peer reviewer that the board selected. Vote that, and then Ashley can send out a formal notice under your regulations about what needs to be deposited by what date. And then I would recommend, I'd recommend tonight putting this over for a date certain to continue the public hearing. And then hopefully you'll have, peer review to discuss at the next public hearing. And if you don't, and Mr. Petrozzi wants to stick with the objection, then you can decide what to do on the night of the continued public hearing. And that decision may include a denial for failure to deposit the requisite funds.
Okay. Okay, that being said, thank you, town council. Could I have a motion to have peer review done by Tetra Tech at the amount outlined in their memo? And if Ashley, you could just state the amount again so we're clear on that.
13,624.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Suzanne. So that, Amy, if you get that, that's the amount for the peer review and with Tetra Tech for this in the scope outline. Could I have that motion, please?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Suzanne. Second by Jane. Any further discussion on the Tetra Tech peer review? Okay, this has to be a roll call vote. Bob Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Suzanne Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Jane Coffey.
Aye.
Drew Delaney.
Aye.
And Dave Anderson.
Aye.
And I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay, so.
Sorry, I was just trying to find in our regs, under section 4 of the board's comprehensive rules and regulations, it states that if an applicant does not provide the board with the requested fees within 7 days of such request, the board may deny the comprehensive permit. So I just wanted to read that part of the regs into the record for you and let the applicant know.
Well, for the record, let me just let the board know that I probably did better off dealing with the HAC at this point. So, you know, if you want us to go back to the HAC because of this kind of disagreement, we're perfectly happy going back to the HAC. I think we'll get better treatment there.
Okay, and next is to continue this hearing until a date certain, and what we have is a continuance until January 6th. Mr. Petrozzi, how's that for you?
Well, it's a little long. It's over a month away.
Well, we've got to have the peer review done, and I think that's going to work out just fine when we have the peer review done. So.
I don't think so.
Okay, so could I have a motion to continue out until January 6th at 7 p.m.?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Suzanne, second by Jane. Any further discussion on the continuance? George, anything to add on that?
No, but that will be at a continued public hearing at 7 p.m. by Zoom as well?
By Zoom, yes.
Okay, great.
Thanks. Okay, again, roll call vote on this. Bob Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Dan Murphy.
Murphy, aye.
Jane Coffey.
Aye.
Drew Delaney.
Aye.
Dave Anderson.
Aye.
And I'm John Lee, aye. Okay, continued until January 6th at 7 p.m. Zoom conference. Okay. So the next thing we have is some minutes reviews.
I think you're all set with council?
Yes, we're all set with town council. Thank
Thanks
you.
very much.
Thanks, George.
You're welcome.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. You're welcome. Good night.
Thanks, George.
You're welcome. Good night.
Okay. And we just have the minutes from the 5th, the 9th, and the 18th. We had a busy, very busy November, probably the busiest one ever. So have board members had a chance to review these minutes?
Not me.
I
Okay.
haven't either.
Hey, Bob, did you get a chance to review them?
I'm not.
Okay, well, then we'll hold off on that. So let's just note, we have the next hearing we have coming up is on the 2nd, and I'm just pulling up the agenda for that, just so we're all clear on where we are. And that's for Dupuy, that should be Dupuy Street. And I would just ask if you get a chance to review the minutes between now and then, that would be helpful. Yeah, so Dupuy Street, and this is going to be responses from Tetra Tech on the peer review, interestingly. So, okay.
Are we letting the humans speak at that meeting also?
Yeah, there'll be a chance for neighbors and people in town or anybody that wants to comment on it. You know, after we have the comments from peer review on that development. Okay.
Okay.
Good. And we also have a meeting on the 16th, but that's way off. That's more than 2 weeks away. But we do have an interesting one on that. It has to do with a noise complaint. Ashley, do you know anything about that?
A little bit, and we could talk about it ahead of the meeting.
Okay, just so, and not in the public session, but it's a just take a look, and it's something the zoning board hasn't dealt with too much. So.
Oh.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else for the board? Okay. So could
We
I
can't have a Christmas party.
No, not this year. So could I have a motion to adjourn?
Hang on 1 minute, John. Listen,
You're on mute, Jane.
there was an email today relative to was everyone on board with the meeting? Was it December 21st? Is that, if memory serves? I don't know what I did with the sheet of paper, but they wanted a response if that was good for everybody. Did I get that right?
Yeah, so that doesn't work for everybody, so we're continuing that to January 6th. So
Oh, okay, because I was going to say that would have worked for me. Okay,
you were probably the only one, Jane.
only one right.
Okay. Drew, how are you? You've been quiet, so.
Doing very well. I appreciate Amy and Ashley's hard work in coordinating all the meeting times for everyone, and I think that's a tough job. So very, very thankful that we have them here.
Professional cat herders. No.
I'll have to agree with that.
Okay. And as one of the cats, I will say, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Suzanne.
Second by Jane.
Okay. Any further discussion? Everybody's good? Okay.
Okay.
Roll call vote to adjourn. Bob?
Aye.
Suzanne?
Murphy, aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Drew?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
I'm John Lee. Aye. Okay. Good night, everybody.